And so can you talk a little bit about the turning it into a business part and what that looked like?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it sort of takes the fun out of it, but you sort of have to do that in order to evolve and scale and
Absolutely. And
continue to do this as a living.
yeah, I mean, honestly, that was the biggest learning curve for me. It still is. I'm still learning so much as far as how to run a business. I never went to school for business. I never was business minded or business savvy. Didn't really know a damn thing about marketing or, advertising or anything like that. So honestly, I kind of jumped into this business, which I just sort of naturally created, I guess. So it was more about, first I created the brand. I gave myself a title. I don't know, we'll call it Lipstick Lex. And I probably could have come up with something more interesting, but at the time, back in 2012 or whenever I gave myself the name, it seemed fitting and it flowed. Yeah. So I started by just giving myself the name, and I focused on just utilizing these free platforms on social media. This is a way that I can market and advertise myself for free. I don't need anyone to do it for me. And so then it was just a lot of creating content. So like the more creative content I put out there and the more I push it on social media, the more eyeballs that will start to see it. So that was kind of like the first introductory processes. And then over the course of time, once I started feeling more confident about my portfolio, my body of work and what I was doing, and I was creating a lot of videos as well, I started just pitching myself to anybody, galleries, companies, people. I just started pitching myself anywhere I could. I just basically, for lack of a better phrase, I just threw a bunch of shit until something stuck, kind of thing. And
in person or over email, or how were you doing this?
It was primarily over email. It would either be email or I would write people private messages on social media. If I had an opportunity to meet somebody face to face, I would definitely do that. I mean, I would just go and walk into galleries and be like, "Hi, my name's Alexis," and and I would just pitch myself. And to be honest, like I gotta tell you, it was just failure after failure after failure. And it was difficult because with pitching yourself, I didn't have an agent or a manager representing me or anything like that. I always kind of felt icky promoting and pitching myself, but it's like, this is what I want to do and somebody has to do it. So I might as well do it myself.
Yeah. And when you're walking into a gallery, what's the pitch? Like, will you host my paintings here for sale? Is that how it works? Or what's the pitch?
Yeah, well, first of all, it was really hard to walk in and even like speak to somebody. So you kind of have to set that up ahead of time. Gallery owners don't like artists to just walk in and be like, "Hey, stop what you're doing and look at my work." Yeah. So I learned very quickly, you need to set up a meeting first. Don't just walk in with a portfolio under your arm, because that might have been the way people did it like back in the past, but now people like to be notified if somebody's coming, So that's definitely a tip. If you're going to walk in, make sure you set up an appointment via phone or email. But yeah, so I would go in and like, let's say I had an appointment. So I would go in and I would have, a couple pieces, like physical pieces available, just small ones that I could carry in with me. And then I would make sure that my, all of my pieces that were on my phone, like via my Instagram feed, or this is also, I just set up a website for myself. So I'd make sure my website was handy, and I would just like have them there to display. And I would just say, this is what I'm doing. I'm using an unconventional method here, and this is my artwork. And and most of the time, and I don't know, I think galleries can smell a sense of like unprofessionalism, just based on your delivery and based on your content that you have to show them. So at the time, I was creating this lipstick art, but my subject matter was still kind of a little bit all over the place because I was trying to fulfill art for other people. I wasn't making art for myself. So I had this lipstick body of work, but I had stuff from portraits to plants to animals to sceneries. So there wasn't that cohesiveness that I think a lot of galleries like to see. Mm. And so it was a bit of a struggle in the beginning, but these are all things that I figured out over the course of time. And
what
so
was the reaction to using lipstick?
usually the reaction was pretty like, they would like first be like kind of confused and raise their eyebrows, and they weren't really sure what I was talking about. And then I'd say, you just have to see it to understand what I'm talking about. So it's just, if you can just like take a minute to just look at what I'm talking about, and then it will make sense. And after they see it, they usually were very much in awe about it, and they thought it was really cool and something really different. However, it's still, I don't know why, but it was always a difficult sell still. And people would say, or I would be asked questions such as, well, you know, who represents you, or where else have you shown your work? And it's really hard when you're just starting out because you don't have those references yet. And you don't have, you know, major companies or, you know, private commissions that you can, you know, accolades that you can flaunt or, you know, provide for them. So it's about them being willing to take a risk or take a chance on you, if you will, right? So, but yeah, it was just constant perseverance and getting used to being told no and being okay with being told no. Because the thing is what I've learned is out of like 100 pitches, you might only gain like 5, you know, maybe less. You're going to be told no more than you're going to be told yes, even if what you're doing is amazing. Even now, I feel like I've developed a really good name for myself, and I have a really nice looking body of work, and I have a really good portfolio. And I've also worked with some really incredible brands and companies over the course of the years. And it looks good to say, you know, I've worked with Sephora, or I've worked with MAC Cosmetics, but that doesn't mean that it's going to land me the next job that I try to pitch, right? So it's just a matter of constantly putting yourself out there, being used to being rejected. Don't stop because you got rejected. Just learn from that rejection. Why did they say no? How can I change my pitch for next time to make it better? What can I do in my own brand to make it better? What can I do to make myself and my work seem more professional? And then just put that towards your next pitch. So,
yeah, was there a time where you ever like, maybe I should do something different, or I should quit, or you always felt you would move forward?
I always had feelings of like, what am I doing? And is this going to work? But I just have such a passion to just succeed. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know. I never thought of myself as being the entrepreneurial type. However, there must be something within me because I just can't stop. I'm kind of like addicted to making this work. Yeah. And so there have been plenty of times that I want to throw in the towel, especially when times get scary as far as when's my next sale and how am I going to pay this bill, things like that. But for whatever reason, I've been able, I don't know if it's just my utmost belief, but I always seem to have had just enough to take me to the next month and to the next month and to keep it going and to propel it forward. But I don't think that that's going to happen if you doubt yourself entirely. You have to have the belief, not to sound like super wooey or whatever, but
no, it's an important message about resilience, and entrepreneurship is hard. And
yep. But if you can see it and you can see your success story and you believe it in your hardest of hearts, then somehow it's just going to pan out. It's just going to work. You just have to trust the process.
You can go back and have your pretty woman moment and be like, big mistake.
Yes. Yeah. I love it.
I'm a part of a startup now, and we're in the cold calling phase, and it's tough, man. I mean, it's 100 no's and maybe 3 yeses. And so it's tough. But you gotta keep going, and you're so new. It's the only way to get eyeballs on what you're doing is just picking up the phone and calling people.
That's all you can do. I mean, you're not gonna, you can't receive any yeses at all if you don't try, right? So
that's the point.
I mean, you've just gotta get used to the no's and be totally okay with the no's, and okay, great, moving on, And it's all about perseverance, truly.